Alright, hey, what's up guys? It's the Nightwing at Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends video here to talk about the LCS Week 7 thoughts and opinions. We have 2 weeks left of the LCS to go through, and then we are into playoffs. So, looking at how everything has developed, it's something rather interesting. I'm not gonna really lie to you about that. So, initially, the reason why I actually waited to give you guys this specific video is because I wanted to actually see when the LCS is going to actually return, and then since we got the announcement it's going to return this week with the spring split format being continued online, and then all the way through playoffs, all the way through the finals actually being online, then I can comfortably give you guys the video with new LCS games coming up this week, as well as the LEC, and also the LCK just announced they are returning in Spring Split online format, I think around a couple weeks from now. So that's pretty interesting. So this week 7 had a lot of great games that did happen, a lot of more better weeks than I actually remember seeing from the LCS. I mean, we had TSM upsetting Cloud9. They also took down FlyQuest, and then you also had Pobelter making that really insane Syndra play. I mean, this week had pretty good games, all things considered. And now, looking at how things are exactly going to go, we're going to have to see where everything is going to land out. So on Saturday, when the LCS did happen on March 7th, TSM faced off against Cloud9 and actually handed them their first loss. The most of what people actually talked about in this game was the set and how much that actually did hurt Cloud9, and I think picking the Shen wasn't really the most ideal pick for Cloud9 because of just how much TSM actually punished the Shen pick in general, but TSM overcomes C9. Actually, Niski and Sven played really well. That Zoe Q he landed and threaded through to hit Bjergsen was incredible. This was a good game all the way up until like 20 minutes where Vulcan started inting and then TSM got the win. Then you had 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. This was a game where I was like, if Dignitas is not going to really do anything, even with the Cadian, actually being subbed in, then nothing's really gonna happen, all things considered. And I think that when you look at how much Dignitas has regressed since basically week 1 of the split starting, then you can see kind of how people were easily able to not think they were really good. Also, I even said at the beginning of the split, before it even started, that this team is going to have issues. A lot of the players want to play the game a totally different way, and they go 0-2 this week, pretty much knocking them out of playoffs. I don't think Dig is going to make playoffs, personally. 100 Thieves take the win. Then you have CLG versus Team Liquid. This was the game that a lot of people were talking about, actually more than the TSM Cloud9 game, because of Pobelter and his 1v9 situation, because Ruin, Wiggly, I don't know how much crack they've actually smoked in their entire life, but that's what they played like. Stixxay and Smoothie continue to be underwhelming. Team Liquid also continue to be underwhelming as well, but I think that TL showed a lot of good in their CLG loss, but CLG, going all the way to late game, managed to pull out the win. Not even gonna lie to you guys, I don't even remember the Evil Geniuses FlyQuest game, mostly because half of it's horrible, and I remember FlyQuest going 0-2, as you guys already know. They lost, I think, both games this week, and they tried to get the top lane dive onto Kumo. They actually fail at that, and then Viper has been looked at as a big criticism for FlyQuest so far. They had a really interesting comp: Aatrox, Lee Sin, Ahri, Aphelios, and Shen. We have not really seen a lot of Shen, but Cloud9's like, okay, we can show Shen, and then let's see how well we can do with it on stage. But then FlyQuest is like, I think Shen is not really good as a laner right now because of all the really bullying lane matchups that are in top lane, so let's just put it in support, which is really interesting. I think that when FlyQuest and C9 screamed each other possibly that week, they probably thought the Shen was super impactful. Obviously, you want to have a super impactful, matchup with certain lanes, because if you have a Shen and you're trying to make a trade or an aggressive skirmish, having the Shen to obviously ult in, shield, and taunt is going to be really powerful. So I can understand why both squads thought it was actually pretty good. But in this game, I actually thought that Bang played really well. I think Bang has played secretly pretty well all of his time on Evil Geniuses, but he's getting a lot of flack because it's not really flashy. As you guys really know, the community likes the flashy plays, and I'm not really the fan for that. Not as much as I used to be. The flashy plays were like, oh my god, you know, but I'm more of a fan of a guy who can actually do insanely well with less resources and actually pop off in a lot of games. Kind of like how Licorice has been the best top laner with really out a lot of resources in general. So yeah, Evil Geniuses smack that FlyQuest ass, and then they start their week off with a win. So then you have Sunday. So you have 100 Thieves versus Immortals. 100 Thieves actually 2-0 this week. 100 Thieves, in my own personal opinion, you know, they have been secretly one of the rather worst teams, but to be fair, they have been getting a little bit better here and there. You can kind of see it where it's like, okay, the big portion of their team is Meteos and Someday. Cody Sun and Stunt aren't really that good. I think a lot of people understand that. I think a lot of people understand that when you see a team like 100 Thieves, you only really think of Meteos and Someday really obviously getting it on for them. I mean, without Someday, like me and JTH talked about before the split started, you could even see that's the only way they were going to win games. That's how they won games previously, was through Someday and Meteos, and then when they lost Meteos, they started sucking, and you guys know the whole story. Immortals, honestly, this was the game where Someday and Soaz's 1v1 turned the tide of the match after Someday gets the 1v1 kill against Soaz's Camille. Then you obviously have Someday taking over the game. Soaz can't contest any waves. Apollo and Hakuho, rather lackluster bot lane in general, but still serviceable players. I think Hakuo and Apollo are literally Sneaky and Zazel from last split. But obviously, you have Ica on your team, which is, you know, already going to be a pretty big detriment in general. But after that, 100 Thieves get their 2-0 week. Yeah, instead of going 0-2 and 1-1, they finally get a 2-0 week. Then you have TSM versus FlyQuest, and this was the matchup where TSM has the hardest schedule of the week because they had to play the first and second place teams, and like I said before, I truly think that TSM is the second best team. I've been saying that for weeks on end, that TSM has shown us a lot. I think TSM's laners are incredibly strong, though they don't really always show it. You can see that they are the second best team, and their record isn't showing it either, but noticing in this game, they easily take over the top side with Broken Blade and Dardoch. As we already said, that was going to be a really strong bot lane in general, and TSM start clapping that FlyQuest ass. After that, you have Broken Blade back on his set, and after your FlyQuest yesterday, the previous day, and you saw Cloud9 lose their first game of the split to, you know, TSM and Broken Blade being on set, you're thinking to yourself, god damn, there's no way in hell Broken Blade gets set anymore. And FlyQuest is like, hold my beer, I want to lose, let me give Broken Blade the set. Now, that's not the only reason why they lost. I think that a lot of laners lacked any pressure. Biofrost landed some pretty good Nautilus hooks. Kabe's Misfortune ultimates were pretty good. Bjergsen was on the Aurelia. He was extremely aggressive. I have really not seen Bjergsen play this well, you know, like this level of game all split long, so it was nice to see TSM officially play to all their strengths. I even said before, TSM has better laners than Cloud9 does, but their issue is mid-game, so if they fix their mid-game, like they showed us in that Cloud9 game, they can actually be really strong. Though I don't think they're the better team, they do have better parts than them for Cloud9 in general. And yeah, Santorin was on Zac, and yeah, that just did not work out. And TSM, they get to the 2-0. They take on the second place team and the first place team, and I comfortably am going to say they are the second best team in North America at the moment. Golden Guardians versus Dignitas. Alright, so this was the game where I was on my vacation, right? And I'm thinking to myself, God holy mother frickin' damn it. Why do I have to watch this game? Because I'm a fan, guys, and I watch every game, despite them all sometimes not being so good. Because you gotta kind of, you know, see the game from every team's perspective, not just the team you support. So it'd be like if I only watched like G2 and Cloud9 games. Well, I love those guys, but I can't just be really good at doing this if I'm only just watching those guys. So I'm watching every other team, and golly almighty, Dignitas is literally where most people predict them at. Sitting at 8th place. I think that they're an 8th place team. Maybe after this week, maybe ninth. Golden Glue, I think he's been really solid this split. Though he's on a team where it's just not able to be shown that. You still have a team with FBI, Huhi, Closer, and Haunter. So for this week, obviously you guys remember they choose to sub out Keith for Huhi, who holy mother of gosh, actually played set support. If you can flex the set, you do it, and that's what they thought. Closer, I think, has looked like a top 3 jungler this split. I think he really wants to get stuff done. I'm really excited to see where he goes, possibly next split. If there's a team that wants a trade, obviously, that could be a possible thing. But I thought Golden Guardians played pretty well this game. They were running through Dig, and Dig has looked like, pretty abysmal, all things considered. I think that Closer landed a pretty good Pantheon charge to stop, what's his name? What is the name of the James House ADC? Johnson, from getting a nice bullet time. And then, most of the team was playing pretty well. And if these are the guys that everybody's talking about in scrims are actually pretty good, then we're in for a treat. Now, this is why I'm trying to actually say that this online thing coming up could be a really good thing for teams that just can't play on stage. And then after that, Evil Geniuses take on CLG, and then pretty much this is Evil Geniuses' best week. I'm not even gonna lie, this is their best week, and then they completely started to really do what we expect this team to do. They have a few star players in a lot of positions, a few star players where you can see the potential there, though they have this ability to be really passive, which I'm not really a fan of personally. I think they did have an easier week than a lot of teams did, so that could be a reason why they're actually look as good as they did. And Kumo was on his Jace. I don't know why he just can't get a CS lead on Jace even though that's like his most comfortable champion. And this is the thing that really showed us in this game, where Bang is still an insanely strong AD carry. CLG pretty much looked like how they should have looked against Team Liquid, but they looked like it against Evil Geniuses, and it was super funny to hear Twitch chat go, how the hell did TL lose to that? I don't know either, personally. Alright, and then you have TL versus Immortals. Coming into this game, you're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way TL is gonna lose the head-to-head to Immortals and lose to Xmithy. Xmithy gets his revenge on TL again. He was on the Gragas, and then you had composition of basically Ica inting, and it didn't matter anyway. Ica straight up inted into Team Liquid, and it did matter anyway, because everybody else on Immortals just got that further ahead. Tactical lost with TL, so they subbed Tactical out. I don't think that's the right decision, because that doesn't really show a benching personally, but they are trying to still reach playoffs, so you're thinking to yourself, okay, they have to put Double It back in, and they want to teach him a lesson, but what do you do if you want to make playoffs? So that's a really weird predicament to really be in, and I don't think it really bodes well for Tactical, but I think that people saw good things out of him to potentially have him in the LCS, which is a good thing. Obviously, I think he did good enough to be put back into the LCS at some point, possibly, but as I said before, they're still going to be evaluating their roster, and I don't think Tactical will be starting unless they're just gonna, let's say they get into playoffs, right? And let's say they're a low seed and they have to play quarterfinals, right? So the only way I see Tactical actually coming back in is basically Double If is just so bad in scrims that they just choose to use Tactical for a few games, just kind of switch things up, which could be the case here. But yeah, Immortals, they team fight really well. They get a lot of laning advantages really well. Soaz flanks really well on the Renekton. You get a pretty good game, all things considered. And isn't this the game where Apollo gets a pentakill? I'm pretty sure this is the game where he gets a pentakill, because this has to go down as the most underappreciated pentakill. Like, most of the community was like, what the fuck just happened? Apollo just got a pentakill on Aphelios. Like, how bad is TL right now to be giving Apollo a penta? Like, holy moly. Yeah, I remember he got a penta this game, and he obviously did really well. And sometimes you don't have to be a star player to do really well. You just have to show enough and be as strong as people expect you to be. If you're a role player, be a role player. Don't be a shitty laner role player, because that's just bad. And then they give the 2-0 head-to-head over Liquid, and coming into this week, you're thinking like, damn, what? Like, just coming into the split, to think that freaking Immortals can have the 2-0 record over TL, that's just insane. Like, most people were like, Immortals definitely shit the bed and lost, but nope. Last game of the week is Cloud9 versus Golden Guardians. Cloud9 definitely wanted revenge after TSM handed them their first loss. They came in this game with a vengeance, let me tell you that. Because basically, Golden Guardians pretty much ran the same composition they did the previous day. The only change was like Zoe for Syndra, and then you switched out the set support with the Nautilus. It's pretty much the exact same composition that they ran the previous day. Cloud9, they are like, no more Shen, I'm taking the set. Blabber's like, alright, I'm gonna have the Pantheon. Niski's like, alright, I like roaming, why not play Talia? And then now Sven is like, okay, hold my beer, I can do it better than you guys. I got Syndra 80 carry. And it's like, what? And Vulcan's like, alright, let's style on these kids. Give me that pike. So they have two different compositions of basically Cloud9 and Golden Guardians. Obviously having these comps where Golden Guardians works later in the game, C9's works early game. I mean, if you're dropping Pantheon, Talia, Syndra, you definitely want to get ahead early, especially with a Pyke who's able to roam. They have a lot of roaming, and they have a lot of good early game aggression early on to really get them ahead. And basically, after 20 minutes, Cloud9 basically return back to the same team they all get remembered by. And after that, Cloud9 end off the week first place in the standings. They are still in first place. TSM, as I said before, second best team, rightfully in second. And then it's FlyQuest, Evil Geniuses, Immortals, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid is in seventh. And my question right now is TL making playoffs. I think that looking at TL's schedule, it doesn't look really good. But there's a chance where they do make playoffs, obviously, and maybe playing from their facility or wherever they're going to actually be able to have their games will give them a decent little boost from what they can actually do. Because the issue is they should have an easy week, but that is what was said about this week right now. So it's like, okay, maybe they're not, but I still think there's a chance for them to get in the playoffs. I predicted that they actually would, but I do think they would lose. They would lose to Cloud9 in the final game of the split, and they're going to have that long-awaited rematch. See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out.
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.